The striking message Alcaraz sends to Sinner ahead of 2026. The player from Murcia once again showed his elegance in the press conference by dedicating a few words of respect to his greatest rival, with whom he hopes to continue fighting for major titles. The exhibition match held in Incheon, South Korea, between Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner left much more than just the result. The Spaniard left very positive impressions after defeating his main rival 5-7 and 6-7-8. At the end of the match, the world number one dedicated exemplary words to the Italian. "You deserve the best, all the best for you, for your team and, as our team says, I hope to see you many Sundays." A rivalry that is shaping an era in the world of tennis and that will undoubtedly provide plenty of spectacle in the season that begins on January 12 with the Australian Open. Marked by mutual respect, something the Spaniard demonstrated. "Jannik, we finish the season playing together, we start the season playing together, so I hope this season is as good as last year." A message of admiration and recognition for Sinner, with whom he hopes to continue competing and pushing each other to reach 100% of their level. A year begins in which both are expected to continue dominating, with the permission of Novak Djokovic, but in which, despite their youth, they are the clear favorites to win all the major titles in 2026. Both will arrive in Melbourne fully recharged. Alcaraz will thus face his first tournament since the split with Juan Carlos Ferrero. Aware that it is the only Grand Slam he has yet to win and that, if he were to achieve what would be his 7th major, he would enter the Tennis Hall of Fame at just 22 years old. Alcaraz and Sinner open the possibility of playing doubles together. There could be a surprise this year. Both left the door open to that possibility and even debated which side each would play on the court. Carlos Alcaraz defeated Jannik Sinner in the exhibition match they played this Saturday in South Korea. Ahead of that match, both players shared a press conference in which they were asked about the possibility of playing a doubles match together at some point in their careers. Both left the door open to that idea and even debated which side each would occupy on the court. "At least once it would be nice. But I think I'd play forehand and he'd play backhand, if my partner agrees. In our case, I think there's no doubt about who prefers to play forehand and who backhand, although we've never talked about it. We've played many matches, sometimes we've faced each other in several tournaments in a row, so if we ever played together in doubles we'd have to see who plays on each side," laughs. "It would be fun, for sure," said the Spaniard. For his part, Sinner replied, "Yes, I agree with that, for sure. Yes, then I think my backhand, your forehand. But we've never talked about it. I think it would be fun at least once to share the court in different ways, on the same side. Although with the calendar we're focused on singles and it's very difficult because if you go deep in singles and then also have to play doubles you don't get proper recovery. But for one tournament, I think it would be great to do it. We'll talk about it, maybe at some point this year there could be a surprise," added the Italian. Carlos Alcaraz and his father respond to Juan Carlos Ferrero's interview. Alcaraz's father was very direct when responding to accusations circulating that he was the cause of his son's split from the Valencian coach. Carlos Alcaraz tried to drop the bombshell of his split with Juan Carlos Ferrero in the most discreet and affectionate way possible, but in the end it has exploded just as many expected. 7 years of professional relationship and finishing 2025 as world number one are strong enough reasons to think that this saga hid other motives beyond new goals or pure sporting fatigue. As expected, as the days passed, various media outlets began to reveal the truth behind the separation. The first to break his silence was Juan Carlos Ferrero, who, through the newspaper Marca, admitted feeling hurt and acknowledged that the divorce was the result of the annual contract review, in which there were certain things we did not agree on. Now it has been Carlos Alcaraz Gonzalez, the player's father, who answered a call from AFA to try to add his perspective to the whole saga. Everyone is free to give their opinion based on what they know. Brief and concise. A response that downplays the coach's words and suggests he has a very clear conscience about having made such a decision. It should be remembered that it was his father who acts as his representative and who put his son in Ferrero's hands when he was just 15 years old. 7 years later, and after having won 24 ATP titles, including 6 Grand Slams, he has decided to put an end to this professional relationship despite Ferrero having been recognized as Coach of the Year. Only a week has passed since the announcement, and all parties involved in this story have already come forward. Surely this is only just beginning, and once the holidays pass and the season starts again, more concrete information will emerge. Carlos Alcaraz uses social media to celebrate Christmas. Carlos Alcaraz also wanted to respond to Ferrero's interview, but in his own way. He reappeared on social media a week after splitting with his former coach, publishing several photos training in El Palmar, Murcia, with a Merry Christmas and a "We Keep Going" referring to his preseason with Samuel Lopez, now the main figure in his coaching team. With emojis of a Christmas tree, a heart, and a flexed bicep, he appeared on X, Facebook, and Instagram without revealing how he feels after the split with Ferrero or clarifying the reasons behind a 7-year relationship. Rafael Nadal was asked to choose between Sinner and Alcaraz. This was his surprising answer. The legendary Spanish tennis player spoke about the two absolute dominators of the current circuit. A new tennis season is coming, and everything suggests that in 2026 the near unopposed dominance imposed this year by Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner will continue. Both shared the 4 Grand Slam titles and created such a gap over the rest that one can already speak of an era similar to the one once imposed by Novak Djokovic, Roger Federer, and Rafael Nadal. The latter, in a rare appearance before the press, spoke about the Spaniard and the Italian and answered a key question: which of the two does he identify with more? Carlos is more unpredictable, Jannik is more methodical. Nadal's answer was surprising. He does not see himself reflected in either of them, although he does recognize the quality of both. They are players different from what I was, said the 14-time Roland Garros champion in an interview with AS. Carlos is perhaps more unpredictable. Sometimes he produces more spectacular points and does not follow the same pattern of play. I find it curious when people say he is inconsistent. The results tell a different story. He has had a very regular year. He has been incredibly solid in all aspects. Jannik is more focused, more methodical and, in addition, adds things little by little, which makes him so solid and lose so few matches, he added. The next chapter of their rivalry will come soon, at the Australian Open, the first Grand Slam of the season, which begins on January 18 in Melbourne. Sinner is the 2-time defending champion, while Alcaraz will be looking to win the only major missing from his collection. Carlos Alcaraz has put an end to a year that confirms the future is already the present. He did so on social media, where he reviewed both personally and professionally his spectacular 2025 season. What surprised people was not that, but the fact that after the news of his split with Juan Carlos Ferrero and with names already being mentioned as possible replacements, the player from Murcia forgot to share a single photo with him. The Spanish tennis player published 2 posts of 20 images each on his social media, summarizing a historic season both sportingly and emotionally. However, in none of the 40 photos published does the figure of Juan Carlos Ferrero appear, his coach throughout the entire year and with whom he ended his professional relationship last December, to everyone's surprise. The first post summarizing Carlos Alcaraz's achievements. In the first post, Alcaraz decided to upload exclusively photos of himself with the trophies won during the year, clearly showing that it has been one of the best seasons of his career. Among the images and titles achieved are champion of Roland Garros, the US Open, Monte Carlo, Queens, Cincinnati, Rotterdam, and Tokyo, as well as world number 1 in the rankings. Added to that are finals at Wimbledon, the ATP Finals, and the Barcelona Open, completing an impressive resume within reach of very few, if anyone, except Sinner today. The second post omitting Juan Carlos Ferrero. The surprise came with the second set of photos. With the clear and forceful message "My Real 2025, the Spaniard shared another 20 images. This time, much more personal and featuring his closest people. Family, friends, coaches, and celebrities are those who appeared in the photos on Carlos Alcaraz's personal account. The issue arises when one looks through all of them and easily realizes that one person is missing. And it is not just anyone. It is Juan Carlos Ferrero. The person who had been with the ATP number 1 since he was very young, and with whom he has now ended his professional relationship. If tennis fans and the most loyal followers of this duo had any small hope of seeing them together again, that hope has disappeared with this gesture. While waiting to hear what Carlitos says in the press conference of the first tournament of the year, this is the closest we have to a Carlos Alcaraz who has summarized his 2025 almost perfectly through his personal social media account.